Good afternoon and welcome to the program. And right now we want to link up with our news anchor James Smart, who at 2 o'clock this afternoon will be speaking to the outgoing Chief Justice Willie Mutunga. And James Smart, if you can hear me, perhaps you can tell us what can we expect from the interview.
Well, thank you very much, Sharon. We are here in Korogosho Parish Church, and what's happening today is that the Chief Justice is having his final public engagement, if you like, here at this church. He considers Korogosho, just for a bit of a background, he considers this place, Korogosho, as his home and his entire place. But he's here today for his legacy. He's going to have a public discussion. As we speak now, the church service is just about to end, which has been on until 10, from 10 in the morning up to I think 12:30, and it's just ending right now. But afternoon, we will be able to have a discussion with him, a one-on-one interview, and a town hall kind of format. I just want to bring in Raphael Obonyo, who's one of the organizers of this event. Raphael, this is the CJ's last public function. Why here?
Because CJ has always considered Korogosho to be his home. When he was still with the civil society at Kituo cha Sheria, Kenya Human Rights Commission, he came to Korogosho many times to share in the struggles of the people of Korogosho, to provide legal services and to help people of Korogosho to be able to conquer poverty and to conquer injustices. When he was first appointed to be the Chief Justice, he arrived here again to ask people of Korogosho for blessings and also to ask them to help him in his journey as a Chief Justice. Today he is coming back to Korogosho to say, you gave me a chance, you blessed me to be in office, and now I'm coming back to let you know what I've been able to do and to let you know also that the struggle has just begun. The struggle continues.
Well, Rafael, this CJ's tenure has been very different. He's been most, as what would say, a man of the people. He's tried to bring the judiciary close to the people. And some of the things that he'll be talking about afternoon when we have a public discussion with him.
One of the things, I mean, CJ has been able to do quite a bit of things, but one of the most important things that he's been able to do is to enhance access to justice, to make sure that the courts are not seen as institutions that are hostile to the people, but institutions that are supposed to serve the people. And so he's been able to ensure that justice is not just for a few, it's not just for a few people, but everyone, including the rich and the poor, can be able to access justice. And that is very, 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 very important. And so in the afternoon, he'll be sharing some of the perhaps what he's been able to cover, what he's been able to achieve, but also the challenges that he's experienced. One of the things he's been saying is that, look, before he became the Chief Justice, he was criticizing the system from outside. But after going inside, he now has better experience of what it means to be in the system. And he wants to share that with the people, not just people in big offices, but people who are actually court users, ordinary Kenyans, people who are really engaging in the struggle for justice, in struggle for human rights, and that's why he's in Korogosho.
Let's talk about his legacy for a second here. As someone who knew him before, and then he came into office and now he's leaving, what sort of legacy? I mean, there are a lot of things that we'll be talking about, you know, his time in office, the difficulties, the challenges, the politics and therein, and his transformation, if you like, in the judiciary. What do you think will be the overriding factor in his legacy, if you like, as someone who've known him?
I think one of the things he'll be talking about, and one of the things that I think will be his legacy, is that he's made the judiciary friendly to the people. He's been able to establish things like court users initiatives. He's been able to bring judges to the communities. Before, judges never left the corridors of the judiciary. They were always at the judiciary. He's been able to ensure that judges don't just sit at the judiciary, but judges mix and interact and integrate with the people. That is extremely, extremely important. So I think one of the things he'll be talking about that, look, I went in when the judiciary was hostile, when the judiciary was unfriendly, but look at it today. Anyone can walk in, anyone can walk out, anyone can ask any judge to come to the community, anyone can criticize rulings by any judges. Before, the judiciary and judges were actually demigods. You could not question their action. But today, we are able to interact with these judges. We are able to understand why they make judgments or rulings the way they do. That never used to happen. He's been able also to decentralize the judiciary. Today, we have mobile courts. We have not just courts in different devolved units, but he's been able to ensure that not just even those courts in devolved units have some of the best judges, not like it were before, that being taken to places like Wajir, Garissa, or even Makadara was seen as a punishment. Today, some of the best judges do not even serve at the High Court. They serve in devolved units.
Well, finally, those are the good parts, but they are difficult parts. All right, there is the presidential petition. There is the age question that is now being, in the judiciary. Those are difficult questions that he'll go away with. Finally, as we finish.
Yeah, I think there are many. There's a lot that remains undone. One of the things, for example, you're going to realize, and one of the things that people have been asking is, how was the ruling for the 2013 presidential election petition done? And we are waiting for him also to explain that. Many people have been tweeting, many people have been sending in questions. One of the difficult questions that he has to contend with and people want to hear is, how was that ruling made so fast and so easy like that? Some of the things that people will also be asking is, why is it so difficult for us to get a new Chief Justice? Why is there a power struggle? And why is it that he's not been able to provide the kind of leadership that is required? He's also been blamed for being an activist judge, and which is a very dangerous thing. So people are also asking, what legacy are you leaving behind? Especially, have you set a strong foundation, or what you've done was all about you? It is during his tenure that we were able also to discover serious scandals at the judiciary. The question is he leaving? Is leaving, but have those matters been resolved? So I think there are many questions that people will be asking him, and we are hoping that he's going to respond to them. And he said this is a town hall, and is willing to respond to each and every question, and is open to anyone who has a question for him this afternoon.
All right, willing and open to answer all those questions right from Korogosho Town Hall. The setup in the next 45 minutes, I believe. We will be having that discussion, talking to Raphael Obono there, who's from this community, a rising star, and part of the people who organized this sitting on this channel at this station at about 2 p.m. Myself and the Chief Justice, plus the community here, will be asking him the difficult questions. We'll be talking about his legacy, the things that he would want to be remembered for, given that this is his last public appearance. Sharon, thank you very much. That's it for us, Sharon.
All right. Right, indeed, a focus on the legacy of the outgoing Chief Justice Willie Mutunga from the top of the hour, 2 o'clock to 4 p.m. with James Smart exclusively on KTN News. So you want to watch that, and he says that he's open to any questions. So you may want to be part of that interactive session and send in your sentiments, comments, and questions at James Smart on Twitter and at KTN News, and be part of that candid conversation. Moving on now, and President Uhuru Kenyatta has maintained that he supports dialogue with the opposition court over the IEBC. He said through his spokesman Manoa Sipiso this morning that the opposition is free to engage in picketing and demos as long as they were peaceful. He warned that the law was clear on peaceful demos and that no one would be allowed to engage in violence.
The President has always been open to dialogue within the confines of the law, and our constitution is the supreme law in the country, and should be and must be the guide on how we do business. Now, clearly there are people who have always wanted to do things outside the Constitution, but that is what Kenyans decided overwhelmingly against in 2010. Within the new Constitution, it was envisaged that roadside and boardroom meetings by a few individual people solely dedicated to their personal accommodation rather than the national interest would come to an end. And we do look to the Constitution as the guide in which all matters affecting us can be resolved. Secondly, that there is a right to demonstrate for every individual. They can picket for whatever reason. And again, the Constitution, our supreme law, does make that right, but does not make it absolute.
Court Principal Raila Odinga is currently in Bomet attending a mass there. Odinga, who is accompanied by several ODM MPs, is visiting the area on invitation of a local ODM MP, Ronald Ngeny. Now, no local MP is accompanying the former Prime Minister. The visit comes a day after the Court Principal was involved in a tiff with Jubilee supporters in Nakuru town yesterday.
shukrani kwa zawadi Mwenyezi Mungu alizotujalia kwa maneno, kwa vitendo.
Cabinet Secretary Eugene Wamalwa and a section of leaders from the North Rift say the current impasse over the electoral body IEBC can only be cured through a constitutional amendment bill. The leaders are proposing that the constitution be amended to ensure that presidential candidates are also allowed to vie for other positions to avoid pitfalls and letting such a person idle. They, however, faulted opposition leaders for using demos to oust constitution office holders. Wamalwa further urged Senator Moses Wetangula to take leadership and spearhead talks over IEBC within the confines of the law.
Moses Wetangula, mwambie yeye alichaguliwa kama wewe na kufika kule akapewa heshima kubwa sana kuwa kiongozi wa Senate. He should provide leadership. Twajua maprincipal wenzake wa code hawakufaulu na wako nje ya bunge, lakini through him their voice can be heard inside parliament. So wacha achukue jukumu la kuweza provide leadership, akae na majority leader mwenzake Kindiki, akae na majority leader Duale, akae na bwana Nyenze, wakae na speaker Muturi, wakae na speaker Ekwe Ekuro. Wetangula is the senior most kwa hiyo group yote. And if he loves this country, he can provide leadership from within parliament.
Jubilee leaders led by Deputy President William Ruto have asked opposition leaders to be sincere in their calls for electoral reforms. The leaders say the government has agreed to calls by the opposition for dialogue and wondered why they are now changing positions by giving fresh conditions on how the dialogue should be done.
Sisi kama bunge tuko na nguvu ya kurekebisha ile shida ambayo iko kwa katiba, lakini huyu Raila atatupatia ile kazi anataka tumfanyie. Yeye alichaguliwa akashindwa, na mtu ambaye anakataa kushindwa sio mshindani.
Nataka kuomba wale walio hapa kwa mkutano huu, tafadhali, we are believer in accommodating divergent views. We are people that believe in democracy. Kama kuna timu ambayo ile tunashindana nayo, tunawaomba tafadhali waache mambo ya vurugu, waache mambo ya vita kwa mikutano ya kisiasa ama ya wengine, ili tuweze mtu aweze kuwa na nafasi ya kuuza sera zake.
Opposition walikuwa wanaitisha dialogue, na dialogue wamepewa ambaye imesemekana iongozwe na bwana Kiraitu Murungi. Na hata after kupewa dialogue, sasa wameamua sasa ndio wataongeza ile maandamano ikuwe ni Monday na Thursday. Hiyo ni kuonyesha kwamba shida haikuwa dialogue, shida ni kitu kingine. Na mimi nataka kuambia hivi, nataka kusema Kenya ilipigania uhuru kwa kuingia kwa msitu tukiwa maumau tukapata uhuru. Saa hii kama wanataka kupigania uhuru wengine yao, I would like to ask court to vacate our streets so that we can do business. Waingie kwa msitu kama Boko Haramu ama wale Lord Assistant Army.
So hao ndugu wetu ambao kazi yao ni kurusha mawe na kuharibu mali ya watu Nairobi, tafadhali achaneni na hiyo michezo. Let us sit on the table. I've been with Raila himself, I've been with Orengo, Anyang' Nyong'o. Tumefanya kazi, hata sisi tulikuwa tiangazi pamoja na wao wakati ule. But now time has come. Hayo mambo yote mnataka leteni kwa meza, sisi tuko tayari.
Let's be honest. Honestly, as a leader in this country, if you are planning one meeting after another, na hata unasema ati sasa utaongeza maandamano itakuwa siku mbili kwa wiki. Yani haikutosheka na ile mali ilipotea siku ile, na ile maisha ya wananchi ilipotea, na ile fujo ilitokea. Wewe unazidi na kupanga, alafu wewe unataka kuongoza watu, utaongoza watu kwa njia gani? Let us be honest.
Northeastern Police Commander Edward Mwamburi has hailed the locals for helping the police to deal with insecurity in the vast region. He praised the locals for giving the police the necessary information to help them combat crime. Mwamburi, who was speaking during the Northeastern Kenya Police Fast Aid competition, noted that incidents of insecurity had gone down in the area due to cooperation between locals and security agencies. The region has not experienced any terror attacks since the fateful April 1st attack in which 148 people were killed.
Another list.
Coffee call. No.
Garissa people, that we are an open security agencies, right from those levels that you all know, from the administrators up to the security proper agencies, that we need to come together so that some of the challenges that we experience in terms of security challenges within this county and beyond will be brought to the very minimal.
Right, and it is on that sporty note that we wind up today's edition of Weekend at One. Thank you so much for watching, and a quick reminder of that exclusive interview that our senior anchor James Smart has with the outgoing Chief Justice Willie Mutunga. It airs exclusively on KTN News. Be part of that conversation. Send in your comments, your questions to the outgoing Chief Justice. Of course, you know he lives at a time when the Supreme Court is mad with a lot of controversy. So send in your sentiments and be part of that conversation. It takes place from 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock right here on KTN News. I'm Sharon Momanyi. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon.